Hey there, it's Pete Checkley for SampleLibraryReview.com, and today I'm checking out the new Spaghetti Western library from Fluffy Audio. Fluffy Audio clearly been having a lot of fun and decided there's a gap in the market for a one-stop Spaghetti Western library. It's a unique library inspired by the Sergio Leone trilogy and the typical soundscapes of the most famous Spaghetti Western movies. So will this library send us gold in hand, riding off into the sunset, or will it be time for a duel before dawn? Spaghetti Western features 28 different Western instruments to play with. It downloads at 21 gigabytes and features a full legato and polylegato engine. There are multiple mic positions per instrument, and the GUI will change with custom characters depending which instrument you're using. It requires full contact and it retails for €249. Now, when I heard that Fluffy Audio were creating a Spaghetti Western library, I was really excited. The reason is I love Westerns. I grew up watching them. I love the whole aesthetic. I love the music. And I think it's a really interesting genre. Now, I've tried to make Western music in the past, and sometimes it's been really successful, other times not so successful. And I do believe that's because there isn't a dedicated Spaghetti Western library. Now, Fluffy Audio have told us this is a one-stop shop, everything you're going to need to create Spaghetti Western music. So to start off, I thought it'd be really good just to quickly look at the instruments on offer. So you can see we have a range of guitars: acoustic guitar, nylon guitars, electric guitars. There is brass, so there's English horn, there's trumpet, there's a cornet, there's a range of different singers. So country singer, there's a outlaw choir, there's an opera singer, which is a staple of any Spaghetti Western piece of music, and there is percussion in the form of timpanis, drum kit, tubular bells, and of course there's Western sounds. So you can see for yourself, this list of instruments here covers everything we need. Now, I'm going to look at these in a lot more detail, but already I'm really impressed with the content of this library. As soon as you open the first instrument of the Spaghetti Western library, you're instantly transported right back into the Western era. Now, we have a very clean and very simple GUI. At the top, we have a character. He's our wandering guitar player. We have our articulations on the left. So we have sustain, harmonics, and colours, which I will play through in a second. Our three different microphone positions, the reverb settings and the reverb amount, and then the velocity control. Velocity control is really important. Depending on the MIDI controller you're using, you may want to adjust that. So underneath, we have obviously our range of blue keys. So these are our playable keys. And we have our 3 key switches, which will switch between the different articulations. So what I'm going to do is just play through the flavour of the acoustic guitar so we can see exactly how it sounds. To accompany the acoustic guitar, Fluffy Audio have given us an acoustic guitar strum. Now the idea is you hold down a chord and it will play that chord for you, but it will strum it. First question I thought was, well, will it play chord extensions? And it will. You can also adjust the rhythm and how it's played, and there's some very cool features. So if we look at the rate first, now the rate will change the rhythm denomination. So if we go to quarter notes, because my tempo is fairly fast, we have a much slower strum. We could even go to just single bars. And all of this is tempo synced to your DAW, so I'm in currently 130 BPM. We could even go to 132. So our guitarist is now strumming a bit like a madman. But there we go. And there's also triplet feel as well. And various different rhythms that you can change between. Okay, so the step control is great for creating long, varied strum patterns, but there are other ways of doing this. So I'm going to go back to 4 so I can show you this a little bit clearer. Now the humanize function will mean that every time the guitar is strummed, let's say we're doing 4, if it repeats, it will not strum them exactly the same way each time or with the same velocity. So if I go all the way up for humanize, so it should give us a bit more of a human feel. The speed is really interesting because if on full speed, it will play the notes as close together as they can for each chord. If you have a lot slower speed, it will play them more like arpeggios. So a bit more of a relaxed strum. The acceleration will change whether the strum is exactly on the beat or off the beat or slightly around. And again, this gives more of a human feel. Take the speed off and do that one again. The swing will add more of a swing feel. And the decay will change the length of the tail. Okay, so the decay will affect the start of the chord and the end of the chord. So the strummer, I do think, is a really, really great idea. The only thing I'd like to look at are completely different rhythm patterns. So I know we can change the rate, and they will give out different ones. I suppose they're all very, very typical Western type strum patterns. So yeah, maybe saying that I'd like to see different ones. You'd be looking at a completely separate guitar VST for that. So for what is placed in here, it's really, really useful. I haven't talked about the microphones too much. I'm just going to quickly play a different chord this time with a few different microphone positions. So just a spot mic on its own. Incredibly clear. close mic has that ambience that you can hear as the guitar decays. It's very cool. And the far. A bit of a mix. If you don't like the ambient sound which is in there, take the close down. You've got a bit more of a distant guitar. And the reverbs, there are plenty of different reverbs, obviously ranging from different sizes. The church is quite a big reverb. Bring the close back up for that. Let's bring up the far as well. Sounds very cool. Large hall. You could change the size of the reverbs as well. Okay, so lots to be doing with our second instrument of the library, and there's plenty more. So fantastic value once again. Now the next instrument in the library is the banjo. Now the first thing I noticed when I loaded it up, it was really loud. I've since worked out, having played through all the instruments, the guitars are actually a lot quieter than the other instruments. Now this isn't a problem because you can just change this within Contact, but it's worthy of note because if you do pick up the library, I don't want you to think, oh yeah, everything sounded normalised and it was all the same volume. It isn't a problem in the slightest at all. It just means you have to make some slight adjustments. Now it could be to do with the microphones. When you load it up, the mics are really high up. So if I was to bring this mic mix down a little bit, and we have a fantastic sounding banjo. It's worthy of note that I'm not using the sustain pedal to play any of these. Obviously as a guitarist you wouldn't do that anyway. So all I'm going to do now is just play through some more of the instruments so you can get an idea of how they sound. All the GUIs work the same. All the different articulations are key switchable. We have different characters at the top. The reverb, the microphones are all the same through, as are the velocity controls. So I'm going to turn the mic off and play through some instruments for you. So that was a few instruments from the library. A lot of those really stood out for me. The cornet was absolutely sublime. I really adore the ocarina. The weird standout for me are the tubular bells. Now I find it really difficult to find a really convincing tubular bell sound for that Western feel, and I think they've absolutely nailed it. I know the range wasn't absolutely huge, but the sound that was there was absolutely brilliant. Now, there's a few other instruments that I really want to talk about and show in a bit more detail. The brass, I think, in this library is absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to showcase the trumpet. The legato is just superb. Now, for me, that's worth the price of the library on its own. I mean, that sounds great. If you go into the fast legato, so we have a bit more option. So the note changes are a lot quicker, but that legato sound is still there. Polylegato, this blows away. Any library that has this, I think, is, you know, just oozes quality. And then the sustains. Staccato. Sound great. Now the phrases are interesting. You'd think on each key there'd be a different phrase, but I have discovered something a little bit, well, I'm going to say interesting. So if I play an E, we have that phrase. If I play it really lightly, and harder, I don't know, maybe to me they just sound a little bit different each time. So there's a little bit of variation there. Maybe not on every single phrase, but I can hear a slight change. And then we have our muted trumpet as well. And that for me is where Fluffy Audio say about having fun. That is outstanding. It is, you know, spaghetti western, in your door, straight away. You know, absolutely blown away by that. I'm not even using the mod wheel. It just, you know, sweeps in and out, flutters. Oh, it's fantastic. So the brass is really, really strong. Now, I also feel the guitars are really strong as well. Now, the baritone guitar for me is a highlight of the library. It has so much going on with it. It starts off with a fantastically sampled baritone, but then there are effects and different articulations, and it just sounds fantastic. So if I just play very simply. It just sounds stunning, straight out the box. Now, there is a direct line, so aside from the mic options, you can feed your own effects through it. Now, I know us guitarists, we have loads of ways of putting our wonderful guitar effects on things, but it's great that you can do this inside the DAW. Now, you can refer to the manual to show how to do this, but it is a really cool feature. Now, the different articulations, palm mute, legato, slides, harmonics, and the colours. So in this case, the colours are a variety of different guitar noises, slides, string sounds. Yeah, great. Now, what I was saying about the different effects, you could hear there is a delay on there. But you can go to the next one, which is distortion. Rotator. So the stereo field on there is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I use rotary all the time when I'm playing live. This sounds brilliant. Superb. And again, all the articulations will work for there. So if I go legato, palm mute, I mean, that's just, you know, that's mind blowing. And tape gain. Moving on, we have the nice slow tremolo baritone. Stunning. And no tremolo. And finally, just a nice fast tremolo. That takes us to the end. So, you know, this baritone, it's not just the fact you can use it for Western music, for this cinematic. You could use this in loads of different genres. You can take the effects, you can manipulate it, you can change it. But like I say, it all starts with a really well sampled baritone, and Fluffy Audio have absolutely nailed this one. So, yeah, amazingly impressed with this. So in spaghetti western music, you'll often find a vocalist, and that vocalist is often an opera singer. Now, I've always found it really difficult to get an opera singer or a vocalist to fit exactly what I'm looking for in my western music. You'll generally find a lot of vocal libraries very cinematic, absolutely fantastic, don't get me wrong, but you know, getting this opera singer vibe going on is quite tricky. So Fluffy Audio said this is the best opera singer in a library, just to quote their website. I love it. It sounds phenomenal. Have a quick listen. The ambience, the vibrato, the legato, it just sounds, you know, it oozes that spaghetti western vibe. Now, it does have the O legato and the R's. And remember, this is completely out the box, so I've not adjusted any contact levels. The power is, you know, phenomenal there. I'm not even playing that heavily, and it just sounds, you know, great. So this is a huge high point of the library for me. Now, it isn't just the opera singers that are the vocalists of the library. So Fluffy Audio have been really, really clever. Not only do you get a phenomenal opera singer, you also get an Outlaws choir. Now, the Outlaws choir is created using samples from their Dominus library, which is their fully fledged epic library, and it just sounds wonderful. Let's hear it. Okay, so that's the O's. Here the R's. Go down the velocity a bit. So you can see the performance is really, really touch sensitive. So again, I'm going to try and just be a little bit quieter. Phenomenal. And the poly legato. Again, I want to try and tame that a little bit. So it seems to be the first note you hit, or the first sort of syllable, I guess, will be a little bit louder. So there must be a way to sort that out, but I'll, you know, bit more playing, we get used to that. Yeah, so that sounds great, and that's just the vowels. You also have words which are staccato. It reminds me of these epic choirs where you're lining up these staccato passages, but now it's a cowboy version.
Boom, 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 dee, dee, boom, 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 boom. Fire, 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 go, go, fire, great, gun, gun, horn, 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 rough, rough. Rum, 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 zen, zen, dun, dun, shit, 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 shit.
Velocity sensitive there.
Shit, zen, dun, dun, shit, shit, zen, dun, win, 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 win. Die, bomb, blow, bomb, die, 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 die.
It's a little bit harsh. Not the sound of it, just, yeah, what they're saying.
Die.
It sounds great. I mean, you can have cowboy chanting going on, and I don't know, the options are great. But again, it's something I've never seen in a library before. It is the equivalent of an epic cowboy library. Phenomenal. So to add to the singers, you also get a country singer. So we have... So a little less dramatic than the opera singer, same fantastic legato. Sounds great. And again, we have the same articulations, just standard legato. So if I bring up the... Okay, so even with the modulation wheel up, it's a very soft sound. And you also get a shon.
Shon, shon, shon. Shon, 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 shon.
Now, I don't know why shon's there. It sounds lovely, but why is shon there? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe you could just comment and let me know what shon's all about. Yeah, but it's there.
Shon, 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 shon.
Oh, if you go a bit harder, you get some vibrato.
Shon.
Lovely. And the last vocalist you get in this very expansive library is a 49er. Now, if memory serves me correctly, a 49er was someone who's to pan for gold. The Texas Gold Rush. That's what I'm going with. So these are phrases which a 49er might say.
Nhau. Nhau.
I've got no idea where they think this stuff up, but that is great, especially this one.
Nhau.
Sorry, this one.
Nhau.
No, I'm getting meow a lot. There we go. I'm sure we've heard that somewhere before. But yeah, great. I didn't play these ones. Okay. Yeah. What a surprise. Something completely different yet again, but it works so well. Well done, Fluffy Audio. Absolutely loving it. Now, I did say that is the last of the vocalists, but can you include a whistle or a whistler? Is it a person whistling? Is it an actual whistle? Look at the chap at the top. What's he doing? If I play the whistle, again, this one is superb. Again, it's got that ambience. It's got that spaghetti western vibe about it. It just sounds phenomenal. So it could play through all the different articulations. Let's play non-vibrato. And staccato whistling. Okay, so I probably would turn that down a little bit. Sounds a little bit harsh at the top there. But, you know, it's a whistle. It's going to have those frequencies, those high end going on. Again, it sounds great. Let's get back to legato again. I'm sure it's a person whistling. That's what it sounds like to me. But again, fantastic touch. You hear whistling all the way through spaghetti westerns, and yeah, they've done a great job with this. Now, something that I found was almost like the icing on the cake of this library was this folder full of western sounds. Well, I say folder, this contact instrument. So yeah, just going through some of these. I'm pretty sure you could do the sound effects for your own Western movie just based on this collection of sounds. It's just, you know, clearly Fluffy Audio have taken so much care and attention in this library. They really want us to enjoy ourselves, and you can just see the way they've put this together. I mean, you know, there isn't a library like this. And I'm just sitting here grinning. These sound absolutely great. Now, a spaghetti Western library would not be complete without some form of percussion. And we have the timpanis and also a drum kit. Now, drum kit sounds like a very cool vintage drum kit. Tom rolls as well. So it's not just a kit that sounds sort of great just to sort of play and hit like a normal drum kit. There are plenty of different, I suppose, more specialised hits. You have rim shots, tom rolls, snare rolls, open and close hi-hats, you know, things you would expect to see in a drum kit, but in this vintage feel they could have gone a little bit, you know, let's just have a playable kit. But no, they've added loads more options to make it feel a lot more like a real kit. So again, that's a big plus for me. So the last instrument I'm going to look at is the vintage strings. Now, these samples are derived from the Venice Modern String Library, and they've got this, you know, old school vibe about them. When I say old school, it's very cinematic. You can see the range is really, really good. So you can get this emotive playing going on. Now, if you layer these strings, they sound absolutely fantastic. So if I was to go to the polylegato, they just sound sublime. And then with the sustains, I'm not going to use the mod wheel this time, just so I can have a bit more range. And it's only when you really put the string lines together, they sort of form this, you know, cinematic but instantly recognizable vintage spaghetti Western sound. Very hard to describe in words, but I gave it a go. But yeah, you know, they sound great. They're, again, really, really high quality. Legato is phenomenal. I thoroughly enjoyed reviewing this library. My thoughts are, you know, the first thing we've got to think about, who is this for? It's primarily clearly going to be for people who are creating Western music. So it could be for movies, TV shows, video games. There's been, you know, cowboy-themed video games going on for ages. But does it stop there? No, not at all. The variety of instruments is so good. You've got a lot of unique instruments in terms of the vocalists. The tubular bells I'm going to use every time I need a tubular bell now. The baritone guitar, you can use that in, you know, pop, rock, sports, orchestral stuff if you want to. If you want to go down the grindhouse route, you got it there. It's just, you know, sublime. And the brass sections, wow, the solo brass, just for me, you know, I could use that on top of an orchestra. It's just so full of character. The strings you can use for layering in different musical situations. There's just so much versatility to this library. Yeah, you know, you're going to get incredible Western music made out of just this library, but you are also going to get versatile instruments you can use across your template. So, do I recommend this library? It's a massive yes. It's one of the best libraries I've played in a very long time, and I've played a lot of good libraries, believe me. It just oozes quality. It's not just getting the market right and the idea of having fun. I mean, it is just fun. I've grinned my way through most of this review. It's so unique, so different. It's definitely up there, you know, my top 10 libraries already, and it's only been out a week. So that's my recommendation. So thank you so much for watching the video and listening. I hope it's been informative. I have to say I've really enjoyed making this video. This library gets my complete recommendation, but hopefully it would get yours. So please leave a comment down below. Please like the channel. Please subscribe. Please go over to samplelibraryreview.com to follow all of the latest sample library news and check out the reviews. But thank you so much once again. I really hope you can find a place for spaghetti western in your template. Take care and have a great day.